BookTube, Sara here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my February 2020 TBR. Say it with me, everybody. It's TBR time! Yay! Welcome to another month and another TBR. So, after the fiasco that was January's TBR, because that one did not play out the way I wanted it to, I think the one thing I realized in January, there was a lot going on for me in January. Very, very horrible. We suffered a great loss in our family. I'm not going to get into it here, but if you watch my most recent vlogs and my life update video, you will know what it was. It was also, it just was a not good month for work, although it was a good month for work because I did end up getting a new job. So, the scales still are very unbalanced. New job to losing a person, a family member. But I realized a lot of things with my reading, and I know at that kind of time, like when you're going through a tragedy or going through a loss, looking at something like your reading or your other hobbies might not be a top priority, but it is a big thing in my life. And I realized I realized this actually before I lost my father, was that I wasn't 100% happy with my TBR. I was not leaving a lot of room to just be able to pick things at random and pick things for fun. I was so very structured. I do love the structure. I need the structure month to month. But within that structure, I still wanted a bit of wiggle room. And while doing my TBR now, and I was also feeling really bogged down by the number of review copies that I had. In all actuality, guys, I could just sit and read review copies all day long. I mean, that would not be a bad thing. I'm not complaining about getting review copies. But there's no possible way I have the time with working and family and things like that to be able to read all of them within that given month. Plus, read Backlist. I love Backlist. I am such a Backlist reader. That used to be all I did at the very beginning of my channel, but now I'm getting more and more into more recently published books. So, how I used to do my TBR is that I would sit here at the beginning and I would tell you guys all about the RRC, the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads. And I would give you guys the prompts and share with you what books I'm reading for what challenge. But I'm actually going to now do that at the end. So I do, in a way, have a structured TBR, but I allowed myself a bit more wiggle room within this TBR to pick things that I really wanted to read. And to actually just be able to go and look at shelves and pick something that piques my interest, essentially, instead of being like, okay, I need to read this, this, and this to fit this challenge, and so on and so forth. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think this is a good mix. I'm hoping it's going to work well in February, and if it does, I will continue on. So I am still going to share with you guys the RRC challenge, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the books that I have on my TBR, and then at the end, I'm going to share with you guys the RRC challenge and let you know what books from all the original books I shared with you, where they slot into the different challenges. And that is open to change. Those books can change on a whim. If I read a different book that fits a prompt and I don't end up reading a certain book, and that's the other thing, I'm allowing myself to be like, you know what, if I don't want to read this book, I won't. I'll DNF it, or maybe I'll pick a different book, or what have you. So I'm being a little bit less strict on myself, and I think that that's going to make a big difference. So let's jump into the books I plan on reading in February. So we're going to start off with library books, you guys. Library books. I talked about this in that same vlog, that I do love going to the library. I've always loved going to the library ever since I was a kid. And with my very structured TBRs, it did not leave me room to just go and browse the library. And I want to do that every month now. I want to go and pick 3 or 4 books from the library, like physical books off the shelf, and read them in that given month. So I did that. The other day on my way home from work, I stopped at one of the libraries close to where I used to work, my old office, and I picked up some books. I just wandered through. A lot of the branches of the Toronto Public Library are not exceptionally large. They're small, quaint little libraries, and each in little pockets of the city, and I think they're delightful to go and visit. And it's fun to always check out new ones. So these are the books that I picked that kind of spoke to me off the shelves when I was wandering through the library. And the first one is called The Corner of Forever and Always, and this is by Leah Riley. This is a contemporary romance novel. It's book number 2. I didn't realize that till after I got home and looked on Goodreads, but that's okay. I've always said, like, contemporary romance series can pretty much be read out of order. This is book 2 in an Everland, Georgia novel. This is an author I've never read before. The cover totally intrigued me. I'm loving, I think that's a VW bug on the cover, but look at that gorgeous background. And yeah, this one just sounded really, really good. And it's just listed as a contemporary. I didn't even realize what it's about. I didn't look to see what it's about. But yeah, I'm super stoked about this one. If I like it, I will go back and pick up the first one. The next one I picked up is a book that I've heard about before. This was kind of on the, it's not a new release per se, but I think maybe they got a new copy of it, or maybe they were just trying to, I always look at that section when I go into the library that shows like new releases and stuff like that to see what they have. And this is Lucky in Love by Kasie West. I don't think I've read this author before, but I've heard a lot about her. She is a YA author. But I think it's definitely a YA contemporary, and it just looks super sweet with the heart. I mean, how perfect for February for Valentine's Day. I just thought that this one looked super, super adorable. And yeah, I have no idea what it's about, but I am super excited about picking it up. It should be a really quick and easy read. I mean, it's, I'm not, it's a YA. These are generally pretty easy to read. And the last one I picked up is one that I just heard about recently, and I saw it again when I walked in and they had like the new release section. And I saw this and I immediately scooped it up because I wanted to read it. And this is The Matchmakers List by Sonya, I think it's Lalli. But this is about a woman who, what does it say here? Finally given in to family pressure and agreed to let her grandmother play matchmaker. But that doesn't mean that she has to like it or that she has to play by the rules. So it's an American Indian family, and she is going to allow her grandmother to pick her future husband. So I'm totally intrigued. This sounds delightful. I really, really love Indian American books. There's something about them that I just love. Sonya Dev is an absolute favorite of mine. If you need to, if you're looking for recommendations of that nature, The Bollywood Bride was fantastic by her. A Distant Heart was fantastic by her. I really, really like her stuff. And I'm excited about trying out a different author in the same vein. But I'm really, really looking forward to this. It says, her life spirals into a parade of Nana-approved bachelors and disastrous blind dates. She must find a way out of this modern-day arranged marriage trap without shattering her beloved grandmother's dreams. It just sounds delightful. I think this is going to be so fantastic, and I cannot wait to read it. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this one. So, on to all the rest of the books that I have on this list. So let me turn my tablet back on because it went to sleep on me. So next we have the Stacking the Series. Oh, let me reach up here for a book. We'll go with the Stacking the Series challenge, which is a challenge that I've been doing for the last few years. I burned myself out on it last year, and I picked less stacks for this year. If you want more information on the Stacking the Series, I will leave a link in the description box below to my Goodreads group, to the link where I have this all set up. And if you want to join, please feel free to do so. It's not too late at all to join. Essentially what you're doing is picking series that you're reading your way through, and you're building stacks. I'm doing 8 stacks this year, so I have one stack of 8 books, another of 7, 6, 5, etc., etc. So I randomly picked 3 of the series to read this month, and here they are. So the first one is from Llewellyn's Sabbath Essentials series. This is Imbolc, and this is rituals, recipes, and lore. And this holiday, it's a holiday in the pagan calendar. It is on the 2nd of February, so, Groundhog's Day. And I bought this entire series when it was coming out. So I've got all 8 of these books. And this is my 8 stack, my stack of 8 books. And this is, yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this one. Again, these have been sitting on my shelf for a while now, and I am really looking forward to it. This is, of course, a nonfiction novel. And it talks about lots of different aspects of the holiday. So it shares with you at first, like, the way that people used to celebrate it, back in pre-Christian times, to how, as modern day pagans, we can celebrate it. It gives you recipes and rituals and crafts. you know, rituals, and there's some gorgeous artwork in here. I mean, these are just delightful little books. I know Shannon over at Shannon Riddler, whose channel, she took her channel down right now, but she read through all of these last year, and my goal is to read these the month that the Sabbath hits. So I'll actually be reading this after, probably, you know, after the holiday, but I'll be in better preparation for next year. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one, and I will be reading it in a physical copy. The next one is going to be The Long Shot by Ellen Hartman. This is the first book in the Fallon Brothers series. I read the second book. It's only a duology, so this is my first stack, my stack of one book. So I'm getting a book from my 8th stack and my first stack this month, so that's exciting. This is a Harlequin special edition, I believe, and it's just a contemporary romance novel. Our main character, I believe, is either a basketball coach or player. I can't remember, but this one looks good. I really enjoyed the second book, so this one's going to be a lot of fun. And the last one is Hometown Cowboy by Sara Richardson. This is the first book in the, oh gosh, what is it called, that series? I'm drawing a blank. If I remember, I'll put it right here. What the series itself is called. But I really, really love Sara Richardson as an author. And I think I'm working my way through 4 or 5 books in this series over the course of this year. And another contemporary romance, a cowboy contemporary romance. Can't go wrong with that. Very much looking forward to it. The next group of books are my 2020 series TBR. So I'm going to now insert a clip of me opening the picks from the jar. Hi guys, Sara from the past, here to do, of course, my TBR jar. So let's pick our 5 picks for the month of February. Super excited. Love this. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. So let's pull 5 out. I've already given it a good shake, shake, shake to see. So what have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put that one back for next time, or for whenever it gets picked. Yay. Sorry for reaching there, you guys. So let's open our little stickers. So yeah, I am loving doing this. And now, can I find the ends of these again? This is the same problem I ran into the last time I did this. I predict this will be ongoing throughout the year. Might have to rip it just a little bit. I just hope I don't rip what it actually says, because that would not be good. So the first one that we have is Royal Weddings. The Royal Weddings series. I don't remember this one. You guys will see in a little bit. I am intrigued, and I'm looking forward to checking this out on Goodreads and seeing what it is, because I cannot remember. So there's that series. No idea what it is. What do we have next here? Like little presents. Oops. I want to rip the paper just a little bit. I just need the paper long enough to see exactly what the series is. And this one we've got, ooh, the Plum Orchard series. This is by Dakota Cassidy, I believe. I cannot remember where I'm up to. I think I'm either on book 2 or book 3. This is a really fun series, a little spicy, a great contemporary romance. So yes, this one will be super exciting. I cannot wait for that one. Next we have, this is not the best washi tape. I got it from the dollar store. But it was so cute with penguins on it. How could I say no? Ah, come on. Off there. Let's just tear it this way. There we go. That's easy. That's what was it. See? It's got little penguins. How could I say no to penguin washi tape? Like I said in my last one, this will be so much fun to be using like in the summertime, to be looking at in the summertime. We now have, ooh, the Amish Heirlooms series. This one, I think I read the first one. I'm sure I read the first one back in last April for Amish in April. So yeah, it'll be nice to get to the second one. I'm sure I've only read the first one, but that one will be really cute. A nice, fun Amish romance. Things you don't expect to hear. An entertaining Amish romance. Let's go with that. There. Instead of trying to rip the washi tape, let's just pull it apart. Now we have, oh, Texas Cattlemen's Club, the Imposter series. Ooh, this one should be good. I think I've only read the first one of this one too. So this is great to be able to get to the next in a series. So yeah, TCC is the Texas Cattlemen's Club. I just did that for the short form because I know what it means. So yay, so that one will be good too. And last but not least, certainly not least, we have, let's tear this open. We have Beartooth Montana series. This, I believe, is an intrigue series. So it is a Harlequin imprint series. Very exciting. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's an intrigue series, so this one should be really, really good. So anyway, guys, that's it. Let's jump back to the rest of the TBR. So there were all the picks. So let me share with you now which books correspond to those different series. So the first one, I believe, was the Royal Wedding series, and that book is going to be Whispers at Court by Blythe Gifford. I know I remember in that video, in that clip, I couldn't remember what series that was, but it was a Harlequin historical series. I believe there's only 2 books in this series, but this series takes place, like, I want to say it's even medieval England, I think. Don't quote me. But I'm very excited about it. I enjoyed the second book, and I'm very much looking forward to this one. Or the first one I read might have been the first one. This one might be the second one. I'll do better next month and write these things down. I do apologize, you guys. The next one was the Plum Orchard series, I think. I don't know if I'm getting them in the same order that I opened them, but if I didn't, I'm sorry. I'll just try and mention what series these are. But this is Something to Talk About by Dakota Cassidy. I love this series. This is a very, very spicy contemporary romance series, and it essentially centers around a group of women who are working at and not necessarily they are themselves, but are working at a sex phone operator company. That's what they do. And again, I don't know if all the characters are that part of the profession or whether they are just office staff. I think the first one, she was just in the office staff. I think this is the second book in the series. And like I said, obviously based on what they do for a living. These books get very, very spicy, but I really enjoy them. And they are a lot of fun if you like a good spicy contemporary romance. The next one is actually from one extreme to another. The Amish, I think it's the Amish Heirloom series was the next one. And that is the Courtship Basket by Amy Clipston. Again, an Amish romance. These are very, very sweet. I'm pretty sure I read the first one last year for Amish in April that I co-hosted with Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. And yeah, this is a really, really fun series. You know, it's a delight. It's, you know, again, you're going from a book that features sex phone operators to an Amish romance. I like to read a little bit of everything, you guys. So yeah, this one's going to be really enjoyable. Next up, I cannot remember what series this one is from. Doesn't matter. But this is Rich Rancher's Redemption by Maureen Child. And this is just a Harlequin desire novel about a rancher. These are really short, really cute books. Often they get a little bit spicy, much like the Blaze line used to for Harlequin. But again, a cowboy romance. You can't go wrong. And last but not least, speaking of cowboy romances, is Redemption by B.J. Daniels. This is the next book in the... Is it the Whitestone series? Oh, gosh, I can't even remember what... I should have written this down. I am so sorry, you guys. The last 2 would have been the last 2 picks from that jar. You know, she writes some great, great cowboy romances. B.J. Daniels, that's kind of what she's known for. These, while they are billed as contemporaries, also have a great bit of intrigue in them. So they are a bit of a romantic suspense as well. Really good. Highly recommend. Next group of books, ones I do not know a lot about, but I want to share with you guys, of course, anyway, are my review books. I picked 5. That's kind of my goal, is that I talked about this in my vlog a few weeks back, was that even though I have a lot of review books, so I don't stress myself out, I'm picking 5 every month, along with 3 backlist. So 3 books I didn't get to from previous months, along with 5 that are being published this month. And over the course of this year, I will work through everything I've got on Goodreads, or on NetGalley, excuse me. I am requesting books every now and then, and I've gotten a couple new ones, but I'm trying to be very, very cautious about with what I am requesting. So again, I do not overwhelm myself in months to come. So the 5 for the month of February. The first one is The Third to Die by Allison Brennan. This is a romantic suspense novel. That's about all I know about it. It looked really good. I love a good romantic suspense, and this one sounds really fun. The next one is Sisters by Choice by Susan Mallery. Yay, the new Susan Mallery. I was so thrilled when I got approved for this one. I think this is the newest one in the Blackberry Island series that she writes, but it's essentially about 3 cousins who are super, super close, like sisters, and their trials and tribulations. And yeah, it's a Susan Mallery. The next one, this one I'm really excited about, is The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. I was so thrilled when I got approved for this one. I know a lot of people read her first book, The Broken Girls, and really, really enjoyed it. And this one is a thriller / almost ghost story, and it takes place in a dual timeline, which is catnip for me. I love a good dual timeline story. So yeah, I am super excited about this one, and I cannot wait to get to it. Next we have, my husband actually was perusing NetGalley, and he goes, "Have you seen this book?" And I went, "Wait, what now?" I had heard about this book months and months and months ago, and I immediately hit request, and the next day I was approved for it. So I am so super thrilled about this one. It is called A Cowboy for All Seasons, and it's by various authors. Trying to remember all 4 authors now. The cover will be up here, so you guys are going to see. Let's see if I can do this off of memory. Maisie Yates, for sure, I know that. I think it's Caitlin Cruz, Nicole Helm, and Stacy something. Am I right? Let's see how good I am when I'm editing, whether or not I got them all correct. But essentially, this is an anthology of 4 stories, one taking place during each season and featuring cowboys. How can you not go wrong with that? I love it. Oh, this is going to be so fantastic. I was so thrilled. My husband said to me, he's like, "I saw a cowboy on the cover and I thought of you." My husband knows me so well. And the last book is, this one looks like a lot of fun too. A really great contemporary. Cottage on the Beach by Tobin McClain. She is a great contemporary romance author. I've read at least 1 or 2 books by her, and was again super thrilled when I got this one approved for me. And yeah, I cannot wait to read this one either. It looks like it's going to take place in the summertime, just exactly what you need in the cold drudges of February. And I picked 3 NetGalley Backlist books to read. The first one, these all came out in January. The first one is An Incantation of Cats by Clea Simon. This is a cozy mystery series, somehow featuring cats. That's really all I know about it. I saw cats on the cover. I saw it was a cozy mystery series, and I said, yes, please. So this one should be great. The next one is For the Twins' Sake by Melissa Sennett. This is a Harlequin special edition novel. I'm not familiar with this author. I don't think I've read anything by her before, but I'm super looking forward to this one. It looks really delightful. And the last one is actually one that I mentioned on my January TBR that I didn't get to, and that is Mermaid Inn by Jenny Holiday. I am really looking forward to this one, and had to pick it back up again, like had to move it over to my February TBR to read it, because I really want to get to it, because this is actually an author I've not read before. And I know a lot of people love her work, and I really want to read it and see exactly what I think about her. Now, this is something new. TBR Backlist. What was kind of panicking me as I was going through these is like, okay, I'm reading series books, so I'm definitely getting to series that I have on the go. But I don't necessarily own the next books in the series. Sometimes I have to grab them from the library or what have you. I'm also reading review books, which is, again, fine. But the one thing is I've got a ridiculous amount of backlist books on my TBR. Like, a ridiculous amount. I think I'm up to, like, it's over 1,400 books that I own, mostly in Kindle format. I think for the Kindle, I have over 1,000 books that I actually own on the Kindle that I have not read yet. And that is ridiculous. And I need to get to some of these books. So some of them, a lot of them are parts of the series that I'm currently reading. Some of them are not. So what I did was I randomized, again, my, I have a shelf on Goodreads called Own Kindle Books. And they're all the books I own on the Kindle, obviously. And what I did was I randomized that shelf, and I picked the first 2 books that came up on that random list, and I'm going to read them this month. Because I thought, why the heck not? That sounds like fun. And both ended up being historical romances, which is just kind of super fun. So the first one is, this is a long title, you guys, The Lady Traveler's Guide to Scoundrels and Other Gentlemen. And this is by Victoria Alexandra. And I believe this is like an intrigue kind of a historical romance. And I'm really, really interested in it. This is an author I have not read before, but I remember picking it up years ago. Like, this has been on my TBR for a while, and I picked it up a few years ago, and I was super excited at the time to read it. Now I'm like, now I need to read it. So I am really excited about getting to it. And the other one is Third Son's Charm by Shanna Galen. I've read this author before. I really like her work. And this is the first in a new, both of these are first in a series. So that's exciting because Sara needs to start more series. Like, I need a hole in the head. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this one as well. This is going to be a more typical historical romance, but still I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And the last two books I'm calling Other. And this is kind of where I'm allowing myself to pick up things as the fancy strikes me, if you will. Now, I've already picked the two books. Oops, I just dropped a library book on the floor. I've already picked the two books, but, you know, as I was putting together my TBR, these are not necessarily something that fits in a category, if that makes sense. So the first one is The Bromance Book Club by Lissa K. Adams. So this book got the rounds on BookTube and Bookstagram. People loved this book. I have not read it yet. I went out, bit the bullet, paid full price, and bought a Kindle edition. I never do that. I never pay full price for a Kindle book. But I had seen it at Walmart a few weeks ago for 40% off, like the physical copy. I'm like, okay, next week when when my husband gets paid, I will go and pick it up. I went the next week and it was sold out. So I bit the bullet and bought the Kindle edition. The Kindle edition was actually cheaper than the print book edition would have been, even at 40% off. So I figured win-win in my situation. But I am going to be buddy reading this with Rainy over at Rainy Day Reads. I'll leave a link to her channel in the description box below as well. This is going to be one of the first romance novels that she's read. And I'm super stoked that I'm going to be the one, like, entering her into the world of romance novels. So again, but this isn't an author that I can recommend because I've never read her before. But I actually have the sequel from NetGalley to read in March, which I do plan on reading in March. So I want to read the first book so I kind of know where I'm coming from when I go to read the sequel. So I'm super excited about it. I'm sure you guys have all heard about this book, so there's no need for me to mention what it's about. Looks delightful. Cannot wait. And the last one, I have been looking at the library a lot recently as well for audiobooks and adding audiobooks, like stuff that has like ridiculous long lead times. You know, I'm adding stuff like a 17-week or a 13-week, and I figure when it comes in, I'll listen to it. No harm, no foul. So again, it's leaving that little bit of wiggle room for me, so I won't necessarily know if a book comes in mid-month. Guess what? I'm going to be listening to that on audio. But this one I looked up and it was only like a 1-week wait, and I'm still waiting for it to come in, but it says it's going to be available soon. So it will definitely be in the next week or so. And that book is a one I've already mentioned here, which is The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. So when I saw this was available very soon on audio from the library, I immediately put it on hold because, again, I am reading her second book this month as a NetGalley read. So I want to go back and read her first book. So when I do my review, I can like compare her writing between the two and, you know, has she changed? Has it differed very much? What was the atmosphere like? Is it, if you like this book, you'll like this book? So I think as a reviewer, that's kind of something good to do if you can check out the author's previous work. So I'm really excited about doing that. And checking that one out as soon as it comes in from the library. So anyway, before I let you guys go, of course, I'm going to go through my Triple RC challenge for February and just share with you guys which book fit into which category. So of course, I'm not going to share with you any more information about the books. I'm just going to mention what it is, flash a picture up here for you guys. So the Triple RC challenge for February. This is the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads. This is my 5th year doing this challenge. I do it every single month, so they put a new challenge out every month. Fun fact, next month, I am the host for this challenge and I cannot wait. So when I do next month's TBR, they're all going to be stuff that I picked, which is super fun. So first up, happy February birthday. Read a book published in February or a book with a purple on the cover in honor of February's birthstone, the amethyst. And I will be reading The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. It's being published in February. There you go. Number 2, flower of the month this month is violet. The violet symbolizes modesty, faithfulness, and humanity. Read a book with a character who is modest or humble, or read a book with a couple that remains faithful despite temptations. You can also read a book with a couple making a commitment, such as a marriage, a book shelved as an LGBT, a book written by one of your go-to authors, or a book with the letter V anywhere in its title. I went with a go-to author, Sisters by Choice by Susan Mallery. The featured author challenge this month is Janine Frost. And this is, you either read that author or they give you a few other prompts. And you may also read a book set in Florida or by an author who is from Florida. You can also read any book that's published in 2007, a book that is shelved as urban fantasy, or a book where a character travels by car. I actually do not have a book for this one. As you guys might know, I pick random books off my Harlequin shelf behind me here. So what I'm going to do is the next one that I pick, I'm going to make sure it was published in 2007, and that will be the book that I will fit in for that category. So that one is the only one that is currently an unknown. Number 4, White Shirt Day is February 11th. The national holiday honors the men and women who participated in the 1937 General Motors strike. As a result of the strike, the United Auto Workers Union became the sole bargaining agent for the GM Auto Workers. Read a book with an auto worker or a mechanic character, or read a book where someone buys a new car or needs their car repaired. You can also read a book with white on its cover, a book with any method of transportation on its cover, or a book where the characters make a bargain, deal, or agreement, your interpretation. I went with a book with a vehicle on the cover, and this is Hometown Cowboy by Sara Richardson. I believe they're sitting on the bed of a truck on this cover. Number 5, Cherry Pie Day, February 20th. The apple pie might be America's most popular pie, but cherry pie comes in second place, and it is my favorite, to be honest, you guys. Read a book with a character who bakes, or a character who eats a baked good. You can also read a book with food on its cover, a book with red on its cover, or a book set in Michigan, record holder of the second largest cherry pie. I like how they went with second largest and not first largest. I'll be reading The Courtship Basket by Amy Clipston. I believe the main character in this story is a baker, so it absolutely fits. Number 6 is Tell a Fairy Tale Day. This is on February 26th, the day before my niece's birthday. Modern fairy tales are generally known for their happily ever afters. These myths and legends were orally passed down, then eventually put into writing. As they evolved throughout time, magical qualities snuck in, and depending on the author, the stories range from sugary sweet to gruesome. If you've ever read any of the original Grimm's fairy tales, they are gruesome. If you are only familiar with the Disney version of A Little Mermaid, I recommend that you check out the actual version. It doesn't end so happily. Disney Disneyfied a lot of things. It says, read a retelling of a fairy tale, a book where one character tells another a story, or a book categorized in Goodreads as fantasy, paranormal, or mythology. You can also read a book that makes you happy, a book with a happily ever after ending, or a book that you can't wait to tell others about. So this is the book that's going to make me happy, and I'm super excited to tell you guys about it. It's going to be Cottage on the Beach by Tobin McClain. Cannot wait to read this one. It looks delightful. Number 7, The Westminster Dog Show. The show was founded in 1877 by a group of hunters who met regularly. They're not currently meeting. Well, the original guys are not anyway. In Manhattan, and decided to create a kennel club just so they could host a dog show. Now, each year, the dogs take over Madison Square Garden during the week of Valentine's Day for the annual Westminster Dog Show. Read a book with a dog, or a book with any animal on the cover. You can also read a book that was set in the 1880s, a book set in New York, or a book with some sort of competition or sport in it. And I'll be reading, much to Steve's chagrin, I'm sure, An Incantation of Cats by Clea Simon. It said any animal on the cover. There are cats. This one works. Number 8, Creative Romance Month. Dinner and a movie are so cliche. Celebrate the month of love by getting creative. Read a book where a couple has a unique date, wedding, or romantic encounter. You can also read a book with an embrace or a kiss on the cover, a book with hearts, flowers, or candy on its cover, a book where Valentine's Day is celebrated, or a book where a character does something creative, your interpretation. I'll be reading Something to Talk About by Dakota Cassidy. They're locked in an embrace on that cover, even though you can't see their heads, which was very typical at the time period that these books were being published. That seemed to be the go-to. It still does seem to be the go-to for a lot of romance novel covers. I'm not necessarily a fan of it, but it is what it is. Number 9, Pluto Day. Now demoted to the status of dwarf planet, Pluto was discovered by Clyde Tombaugh in February 1930 and named by Venetta Burley, an 11-year-old schoolgirl from England with a fascination for classical mythology. Oh, that's delightful. I didn't know that. Read a book with a science theme, sci-fi counts, a science character, or a character who makes a discovery, or a character who enjoys science. You can also read any book published in 2006, the year Pluto was declassified as a dwarf planet, a book set in England, or a book with a celestial object on the cover. I went with a book set in England, and I'll be reading Whispers at Court by Blythe Gifford. And last but not least, of course, Reader's Choice, reading a book of your choosing. For that one, I'm just picking the Bromance Book Club by Lyssa K. Adams, because why not? But I can fit anything in there, really. Longer video as usual, you guys, but I do hope that you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books that I've mentioned and what you thought about them. What were your thoughts on the Bromance Book Club if you read it? Is it a good entry point for someone who's never really read romance before? And how spicy is it? I'm curious to know that too, because, you know, that makes a difference to some people. So yeah, so do let me know that in the comments below. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.